Mr. Speaker, earlier today, the Finance Minister released his second quarter update, and it was interesting to compare his numbers with those released last week by his counterpart, Minister Doherty in Regina. Saskatchewan is facing the same global oil price shocks as Alberta, to say nothing of potash and uranium, and because of lower revenue, their projected deficit has doubled to $0.8 billion, only 1/14 of our own projected $10.8 billion deficit. So to the Minister, have you called Minister Doherty and have you asked him to share some of his spending restraint ideas with you?
I don't need any more spending ideas. What I do need is an economy that turns around. In 2017, we're seeing an uptick in the economy at 2.3%. We are seeing that we're reducing our expenditures on operations. Those are the things that will get us in the long run. And Saskatchewan, frankly, is, what do they got, a $14 billion economy? $14 billion, we're at 300, so their budget is at $14 billion, ours is at 50.
Minister, Saskatchewan has a $14 billion budget, not a $14 billion economy. Get your numbers straight. Mr. Speaker, given that Saskatchewan Finance Minister has released 5 pages worth of ministry-by-ministry spending restraint initiatives, which I will table for this minister's edification, and given that these initiatives are trimming over $217 million from that $14 billion budget, a 1.5% reduction without laying off a single teacher, doctor, or nurse, to the minister, if you were doing your job as well as Minister Doherty, you would be able to release $777 million in savings. When can we expect you to do that?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this was answered by the Premier earlier. We will get back to a balanced budget in time. We are going to work on bolstering the economy. We are going to work on diversifying and investing and protecting Albertans through this downturn. We will get back to a balanced budget, and when we do, 2024.
Mr. Speaker, the Riders will win the Grey Cup long before then. And given that today's Q2 update shows an increase in general debt servicing costs of $33 million, and that given the Saskatchewan's debt servicing costs are forecast to actually decrease by $5 million, and given that Saskatchewan is quickly gaining on Alberta in having the lowest debt-to-GDP ratio in the country, which we used to be the undisputed leader in, so to the Minister, what measures are you taking to try to curb the growth of our debt and attendant debt servicing costs, or are you simply too proud to ask for helpful advice from our neighbours?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, with regard to the fiscal plan we have before this government and Albertans, we will get to about 15.5% debt to GDP by the next year. We're about 10% now. I'm comfortable at 10% debt to GDP. That's not the lowest in the country, but I'm comfortable with it, and we will get to lowering that when our economy picks up.